Hi everyone, and welcome to my new series called Let's Draw It on Tekla. Basically what I'll be doing is taking a structure of various kinds and drawing it on Tekla from start to finish. For tonight I'll be doing a fairly small and simple frame with a bit of plate work in between. Now this is a Quench pan from a local gold mine. Just take that down and let's start. Okay, let's get rid of that. Maximize this. And as always, we're starting on the base grid. So, the first thing I'm going to do is go and change the project properties. And this will be to reflect the current information given on the drawing sheet. Okay, that should be it. So, first thing I'm going to do is set up my grid lines, and I'll be using, well, the only information I can use that is given is grid line number 2, so that has to be in there. Other than that, I'll most likely just make up my own grid lines, and in this case, let's see. Let's start with the grid lines, and what I usually like to do is I like to orientate myself from above so that I'm viewing the file exactly as I see it in the CAD. That just makes it easier when doing stuff like floors. Okay, let's go over here. This should be 0 to start with, 547, and then 349. My first spot will of course be, it doesn't really matter what they are called, as long as my last line is called 2. So I'm going to make this something like 1A and 1B. That is completely up to you to decide, and that's just for your own personal reference, as long as you've got the client's grid line there. Great. Next, let's quickly go look here. It's 850 between the two, with no naming whatsoever needed. So I'm just going to call this A and B. Likewise, we said the top of steel, that's top of steel, and then from the 975 upwards. And that should give us our base. Let's bring everything in. Okay. Now we can start with the actual steel. And of course, just before we start, you need to take a quick look at any general notes and of course our legend. So our frame is basically going to consist of almost completely all angle lines. Okay, put that down. Now for my 4 columns, I'm simply just going to stick them in and edit them all one shot. We're starting off with the columns at 60 by 60 by 6. A fairly small angle. Do remember to change your marks according to your preference. Of course, I'm going to change everything up and to the left. Various rotations will be needed. I'm just going to play with the degrees to get the desired effect. Okay, I've got everything looking outwards, but fairly high. So, my next step, I'm going to disable all my nodes and just change the ones I want. So, according to this, what I'd like is 975, calculator, 975, plus the 80 from that, an equal angle, one side. That's the front, and then for the back, a little bit shorter. Let's just have a look at that. So a 600 plus a template plus what's below it. So that's just 610. Okay, that should do that. Okay. Now, as we just saw, it's got that over, so I can quickly go and put that in, and it will remain unused. So this one was 80 times 60 times 6. Let's just see if it computes. Yeah, it's got no problem with that. So we drop downwards. That should give me roughly the same side profile. Yeah, it looks about right. Next, I need to, let's see, add this one over here. It doesn't really have a height. 526 plus the template. And for that, I'm going to say best way to go is just a nice little side view. Now I'm just going to move that one back there. Okay. Move this up. Snaps on. By reset 5 to 6 to the top corner. Of course, this is far from the top corner. I do believe I might have to swap it around. Yes, definitely. And I'm going to use the swap handles command for that. Go up there. Double click that, and that'll turn my item around. Sometimes it takes a couple of seconds before it registers. Just move that down, and this again will be a 60 by 60. They do get these support plates, and again these support plates are not measured or have any dimensions. Luckily this drawing is fairly accurate, and I can take a dimension of that. 50, 10. Okay, that's not accurate. Not a problem. I'm just going to have to see image properties, use its properties. Now so the scaling's been doubled. Okay, so 100 in the corner and 20 on the straights. Let's close that up and start with this one first. See everything, so just make this a little smaller. Apply that, and preference of the detail. Nice little corner. Now, I will need, of course, this to be to the side, as it's currently in the center and sticking out slightly. weld it, weld that, weld that. And then we're going to move it over the other side. Pick at the bottom here somewhere, and side there, doesn't really matter. What side you use. Down. I think for this one I'm just going to delete one side. Really not necessary to do both. Off the bat, once I've extended to the 60, of course, I can just move it over to get the other side. The base plate. Almost forgot, so let's quickly go do that. Unlike a base plate, and we've got an option of either a one for angle specific or the default one we use. So let's look at this one. I've got the distances from the corner of my angle line to the center of my bolt, which will work quite nicely since I've got the distance from the back to the center of my bolt and both sides. Yes, both sides. So I want both of them to be 55. But I also need to have a total size of 100. So we're going to have to look at 100 divided by, well, minus 60 gives us 40, I think. 40 on the back gives us 20 and 20, which would make that 80 and 80. And that'll give us a hopefully centered base plate. And it seems everything is centered. Very good. Now, next step, of course, would be the thickness of this plate, which happens to be 10, and bolts. If I read correctly, the bolts would be a 22 hole. Doesn't really matter what grade it is, as it's a hole and not a bolt. Onto the platework. We've got some nice views of what we need. We've got a total width of 488 without the outside plates, and we've got the outside plates showing at the bottom, back, and at bottom and top, with nothing here. So this will be open, and of course you've got that hole there for the socket to drain it when necessary. So what I'm going to do is take a nice look at the side view, and I'm going to redraw this with dimension, well, construction lines, and I'll be using, let's see, the center of the structure. I've got my individual places here, and I'm going to start off with, firstly, from the line, it's the 6th plate to the back, and I've got these positionings and this line here. Start with 6, then 250. If everything else adds up, that is, yes, that's 290. Excellent. The total should be 944, and this is going to give us I'm just going to put a point in that location. Say this location. And the reason for that is, as soon as I copy this inwards by 147 for the inside corner, it's a little bit crowded with the lines. So that'll be that corner. Then I'm going to take it from the top downwards, total 500. Now I'll need to take it down 6 and then 385. Okay, so firstly the bottom at 500. 6 for that. There it's 136 and 385. Right. So what I've got here is just a quick show of the inside plate's shape, which is going to be that. Now the outside plate, let's just change this to B, will be, of course, we said 488 wide. So PL 6 by 488. Everything else doesn't really matter at the moment. I'm going to change this stuff to fit afterwards or before. Most likely I'll have to rechange it anyway. Let's put this one in. That too. That rotation at least. And I don't like this being green as well. So I'm just going to make this say 5. It's a nice light blue. Or at least it used to be. Great. It's down to here. I'm not going to expand anything to there. Let's just close that completely. And of course, it's open to that side. Now, when it comes to this, it will be closed up with welding, same as with these corners. The only real corner I need to worry about, this one needs to be the other side. Always remember to recheck. As I say, the only corner I need to change is this corner over here. Forward. And this will be simply going down to the shaded view, the pigment furthest point or perpendicular, just taking it down to there. Now, I'm doing it fairly precisely, but it really is not necessary to be all that precise. It can be up to a millimeter out if you need to be, especially since the bottom is from a very thin point here on the plate. Well, some of this will be lost with welding, and of course any gaps like these can also be made up with welding. Let's quickly get rid of all the lines and points and move the center plate to the sides. That looks fairly good. I'm going to make the sides same color as the rest, lowercase take everything, simply make sure the mark is correct, and I'm going to call this frame. And I think this would probably work, either that or this one here. Probably be the best part for the main one. Just make sure it's also got the frame in it, as that'll be the one that's being used. Now, for the next step, we're going to put a piece of pipe in and a hole. I think the hole is the easiest for now. So I'm going to take that and say, let's go to you. Right here at the back. That's good. In position. Start point there. Actually, I'm not even going to put a point in. Since this is a hole, all I really need is a start and end. When I do the hole itself, you can see that start point is easily adjustable. This is in 22 hole, yes, and it's a hole, not a bolt, so that should do it. The pipe we'll be using is an NB200 sans 1123,000/3 flange. So basically a 219 by 6 thick pipe with this category of flange. I've got the flange here on a PDF file. I'll have a link in the description below on where to get that. So let's just close that up. Again, I will need to create a view right in the middle, and if we look here, we've got from the edge 250. So from the edge 250, probably would have been easier if I just left all the lines instead of deleting them, but sometimes a cleaner workspace is worth that extra. Now, to start with, I'm going to use a bolt command to create the hole. Now, in a situation like this, it will definitely be a lot easier to do something like a cut part with part to get the right size. The small problem with that, of course, is the way it shows up in the drawing. Bolts just generally show up a lot better in the drawing. So instead of creating a 230 diameter pipe, cutting it apart, I'm going to create a 30 bolt with a 200 tolerance to give me the same hole size. As for the pipe itself, the pipe is about 120 millimeters. We've got 120 millimeters, and then from the top of the steel, it'll go up by 78. So middle, and we're going to be looking at a standard size pipe, so we won't be typing something in. Instead, we'll be looking for it right over here. So 219 by 6. That should give us the correct pipe. And let's make this a different color again, so we can fairly easily see the difference between them. Pipe, we can call this LP, basically just going to be loose pipe. Change that to M, and that should be about everything. Next will be the flange. Now the flange is fairly simple, as it's a bought out part. I'm just going to create something basically that looks almost like it should, with the same functionality using these dimensions. So let's see, 18 thick. I'm going to use the exact same command to start off with. Let's just 18. And we're going to say, instead of a standard pipe size, we'll be using something like this, PD. So the total outside is 340. The inside will of course be the 219 of the current pipe we are using. So 340 minus 219 would be 21. Oh, it looked funny. It's 219. So about that divided by 2 gives us about 60. So I'm just going to put in 60 and see what happens. I'm not too worried about precision on this. As I mentioned earlier, it will be something that gets bought out and provided properly sized. Now, as this is a flange, which is always flange, and it's a bought out item, I'm going to change the material grade from a standard steel to a component. I do not need that. I'm going to say, sans that 1000 over 3. Excellent. Now, next thing we're going to be needing is of course holes. Perpendicular to the side. We will be using something called circle. Number of bolts 8 at a diameter of 295. Let's take the bolts out of the equation, it's just holes, and there will be diameter 22. Next would be draw. Let's just number and open up the master catalog. The reason I do this is inside there is the old Tekla's preset drawing creation commands. Do for you, any of the others probably would. Okay, this one seems to be working. Let's open up the drawing list, and as you can see here, the advantage of using something like that is it will divide it up into categories. The first thing I can see here is I've got two plates I did not change, so those will be the ones automatically created of the component. Now I can go and change them from this selection, select them, get them, and change them. Completely forgot to log the last couple of stuff. So, just log that. should about do it. Yes, everything is selected as one, and just make sure that this is the main part. Redo the numbering. Run catalog again, and simply run the same command. And that should give us just about everything. And another missed part mark. Changes into one area, update, and see what we've got. Good. So currently I am using Tekla's default settings and title block, and the reason for that is fairly simple. I got around to redoing the company folder stuff after formatting. For now, the biggest change I'm going to make to all the drawings is I really dislike Tekla's fillet edges. I'm just going to turn that off and turn hidden lines on. Over to the plates. Looks fairly good. As you can see here, I've got a nice little symbol with my number at diameter, thanks to the bolt command. A lot better than it would have ended up otherwise. That should be it. The parts. Brings us back over to the main assembly, which would of course, well, be completely useless. This is step after all. When doing complex assembly, roughly more than half the time, you'll probably manually. Usually I just start off with getting a nice little drawing size that I feel comfortable with, and getting rid of all information given. Yeah, all information given, except one view. Now that one view that you do keep is completely up to you, of course. If you'd like a side view or a top view, whatever you find works best. It doesn't really matter which one you keep, as you'll be creating all the extras yourself. Right. Next, show that this scale is going to be ridiculously, yes. So I'm going to use something like 15 or maybe 10, depending on the complexity of the item. You might want to play around with that. You find something that works for you. Next, of course, I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with the part drawings. I'm going to turn off the fillet edges and turn on the hidden lines to get a much clearer picture. I'm also going to turn off the center line. These center lines are great for stuff like beams, columns, basics, but when doing an assembly, usually better just to get rid of them. Now, once you're happy with the way it looks, do remember to apply your settings. I'm also going to make this bolt symbol hollow, as I don't want a solid block on my drawing. It's not going to look great after getting printed. Now you can put some basics in. As you can see, I did mess up my model. I forgot to change these back down to 6. If you pay attention to what your drawings require from you and what you need to do, spotting small mistakes like that can easily be done on the drawings. Usually when you check the individual or the assembly drawings, you'll find this type of stuff. Another thing to do is just to lightly read through or scan through your material list. Make sure that I've got 10 thick plates here, as 7, 8, and 9. That'll be the two ones I just changed, plus the base plates. And maybe probably stiffener plates. Yeah, it'll be the stiffener plates. So, firstly, just remember, get my changes here, and update. See, 7 and 9, and we can come back and just quickly look at the model what these items are. So those plates, I'm not bothered by them, they going to be different in size. Let's bring this down a little bit. No. You want your part marks to be fairly clear and easy to read. So the view at which you do them are quite important. I'm going to get a nice little side view here, and I think I'm going to change my alignment to drawings. That looks much better, and I'll do this one as well. So it's not top view, but top side view. Excellent. And I'm going to use this view, more or less just as a reference point to get my other section used from. As you can see, a lot of the stuff is a little bit muddled and much clearer on the side view. Now, it has been shortened to save space, but I really don't think space is needed. It's saving at the moment, so I'm just going to take off the shortening completely. let's just do those. Now they should be the same. Good. My side view. Actually, I think for painting space, take everything off and just do the scale once more. It's a little bit bigger. Like that. Yeah, that looks good. Views. I'm also going to get a nice little view on the back. I'd like a view on this. And I'd like a view featuring the base. So, okay, the base I like as is. Probably not the best dimensions and everything. Let's go look at. There probably would have been empty on here. So, what we want to do is change the dimensioning, and I would like none. There we go. Inwards. Probably spare a couple more dimensions up top. And one for positioning the nice little hole that I'm only going to see in this view. That should do it. Same for the side. I think that should cover just about everything. These two, again, I'm not a fan of the current rotation, so I'm just going to swing them a little bit right. Let's just put them in here somewhere. That should be good. Let's put the hole down there. Maybe at the 80. Should about do it. As well as the standard back to back to center to side. These ones, and of course there, the outside, that side, and I'm not even going to align them. I'll just combine them afterwards. Good. Should give those. I'm of course going to add the marks for them since they're not visible in this particular view. well as that hole a lot more visible. Then here where the mark originally is put, fine for a point. And I think with space I have, really only one is foot is necessary. I see most of them from other views. So one nice view depicting the actual distances for the hole from the back should finish everything off nicely. I've got my now the one thing the auto create command does not do is create things like component drawings. So that'll have to be added manually, and creating a drawing where it's probably assembly as well. So the loose pipes over there, parts. And one showing how everything fits together. That looks good. Now, because this is mostly just one frame, a general arrangement drawing is not really necessary. We can take all our drawings and on our issue log and revise them as approval, since this is the first revision. I'm just going to save them as whole block. Excellent. Next, I'm going to select all my drawings from there and hide, and this will show me there's nothing that I do not have a drawing of. After that, I'm going to flash check, make sure I did not miss anything. Seems to be empty. Good. Right. Then I'm going to start creating reports. Now, the basic reports is one for assembly. Assembly part, assembly list, create everything. Usually just open up and show, just to make sure that all the information entered and given is correct. So the part list, all my part marks are correct, all my materials are correct, especially for this, which is not a material. Bolt list is not going to be necessary as there is no bolts on this model. Usually a mat list is required. Bolt list and a drawing transmittal list. If I have more than one revision, usually a drawing revision list can also be given to say what is the latest revision and what has been changed on that drawing. Next, these drawings will need to be printed. I can print those two together since I've made them the same size using the classic print menu and a program called PDF Factory. Tekla does of course provide a default printing program that works fairly well. Just go here, let's see, Quench man. I'm just going to put it directly under A3. Even though it's made as an A2, I printed as one size smaller, and that's simply for convenience. I generally try to divide it by paper size, and it just makes it easier to print afterwards, as I only need to open up one file for printing each paper size, instead of either sorting through the paper sizes within one file or having several hundred files to print from. Yeah, so there's the PDF files. We've got our reports over here. Just got done the checking and a nice little Tekla site, so that whoever gets the model can actually have a look at the 3D without having to use Tekla itself. And that'll be that. Hope you enjoyed it.